Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to today's video. Hi, welcome to the new background. So today we're gonna be talking about my June TBR in this video, but first off, a little bit of housekeeping business that I want to cover before we get into the TBR, okay? First of all, yes, this is my first video I filmed in literally over a month. So Reed and I actually took our delayed honeymoon in May and we were gone for 2 weeks. We were in Italy. It was honestly one of the best trips we've ever taken. It was beautiful, could not have had a better trip. But I tried to pre-film some videos before I left and it wasn't the filming that was the issue, it was the editing, okay? I was so busy the entire time. I did not have time to edit, nor did I want to edit when I was on my honeymoon. So I didn't upload anything for like the entire month pretty much. So that's that, okay? I needed a break. I needed some time away and like, you know what? This is just my hobby and it's fine, okay? I don't feel like I have to justify myself. I am back now and it's all good, okay? We just needed a little bit of break. But with all that being said, that doesn't mean I didn't read anything, okay? She's been on a reading kick. And it's been great, honestly. I actually did quite a bit of reading on our honeymoon and afterwards. And I just feel like I just needed a break. I just needed a break from YouTube, from the grind of the editing and all that kind of stuff. So I am back now. It's all good. Okay, so now that the housekeeping stuff is done, we can move on to the TBR. So you guys, do you wanna know why I'm extra excited for this TBR? It's because I am co-hosting a readathon. I'm so excited, okay? I'm co-hosting the amazing readathon, which is hosted by my friend Bree from 4 Paws in a Book. I am on team general fiction, and I'm going to be co-hosting it with Aoife from Pretty Purple Polka Dots. That is an alliteration that can be hard to say out loud. We are co-hosting team general fiction, and we are going to be reading a lot of like general fiction. Well, that's like the theme of the team. You don't technically have to read that certain book. So this entire readathon is based off of The Amazing Race, which is like a competition based travel show. And like the idea behind this readathon is that we're going to be visiting different cities. There's gonna be 10 different cities throughout the month. Therefore, 10 different reading prompts, okay? A reading prompt will be dropped every 3 days, which pulse racing a little bit. Don't know if I'm actually gonna be able to do that, but I'm gonna give it a try, okay? So every 3 days there's gonna be a prompt released and the goal is to try and keep up with the prompts. Basically the goal is like to complete the prompts as we're going out through the readathon, which like enhances your team's points, okay? So that's the goal. Now, am I going to be able to read 10 books in a month? Probably not. Have I ever even read 10 books in a month? No, I have not. Am I actually gonna be successful? Odds are against me at this point. The good thing is that you don't have to read 10 books throughout the month, like in order to be able to participate in the readathon. The goal is just to enjoy reading books, okay? That's all that it is. And it is to encourage people to read more books. So I'm just gonna give you a list of hopefuls throughout the month of general fiction, and we're just gonna have to wait and see what the prompts are, okay? I'm essentially going to this readathon completely blind with the hope that the books that I am interested in reading this month match up with the prompts that will be dropped, okay? I feel like I've been rambling for so long, but like, let's get into the hopefuls for June. First off, we need to talk about books that I am currently in the middle of. And it is only one at the current moment. She started it. You guys. I'm about 400 pages in. The reread hits different, okay? Let me explain my dilemma. When I was on my honeymoon, we were coming back. I had finished like the dedicated book that I brought with me for the trip, and we were coming home and I realized I did not download anything on my Kindle. I thought I had, but I didn't. Like I messed up somewhere along the way, okay? And nothing was on my Kindle except Way of Kings. And I was like, you know what? My goal was to try and reread this series before the 5th one comes out. So it's not that big of a deal. Maybe I should just like start it and we'll see. It was on the flight home. I was like, I really want to read a book. Let's just start it. Let's just see how it goes, okay? Started the reread. Life-changing, okay? When I read this book for the first time, it probably took me at least 500 pages to actually get into the book. You guys, the reread, I was hooked. Nothing could tear my eyes away from the Kindle. They were bringing around the meals. I was like, don't talk to me. I was so in the zone. I read this book for straight 7 hours on the flight home. Like, I am not even kidding you. It is so good. So I'm on page 400 right now, and it is just, I am thriving with this reread. I have the audiobook, I have the Kindle version, and I have the physical. It's way too many, but at the same time, I'm really enjoying this reading experience. And there's literally no way that I can finish this book within a few weeks span. Like, these books normally take me at least a month to read. So I am slowly making my way through, and I'm absolutely in love. And I'm just hoping that I can finish it within the month, because I think that the rule is you have to be under 50% before the start of the month in order to count the book for the readathon. If you don't know what The Way of Kings is, essentially it's Brandon Sanderson's epic fantasy series. It's going to be like 10 books long, and it's just, the world starts out like this, and then it just starts to go like this, and it blows your mind. If you enjoy Game of Thrones, if you enjoy epic fantasy and like high fantasy and all that kind of like things that are like completely not set in our reality at all. If you like political intrigue, if you like reading about war, if you like reading about a hero story, you will probably like this book. The writing is actually way more accessible than I remember it being. Like, Brandon Sanderson just does a really good job of writing in a way that's not like overwhelming, and it's very easy to comprehend. And I just love this. This book is like a 40 star to me. I'm so in love with it. I'm so happy to be back with Kaladin, and like reading his backstory again is just making me, tear up. It's just incredible. Cannot recommend this series enough if you are a fantasy lover. So please read it. Next book I really am hoping to get to in the month of June is When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. Now, have I put this on every TBR this year? Yes, I have. But guess what? I'm gonna actually read it this time, okay? Because I'm buddy reading this with my friend Camille from Camille of Books on Instagram. I love her. She is an absolute gem. If you like my content, or if you like fantasy, or if you like just books, nice book pictures in general, or anything like that, go follow her on Instagram. I'm gonna leave her link down below. She is seriously such a gem. Wish I could meet her in real life. I love her, and we are going to be buddy reading this book. Don't know what this is about other than it's fantasy romance and it has dragons. And there's a glossary of people's names. Yes, look, there's a glossary of people's names at the front. It's gonna be intense. It's gonna be intense. Now, this is also a 700-page book. Why am I not picking books that are conducive to a 3-day read? Don't ask, okay? I'm normally not one for short books. I love a chunky fantasy book, and this definitely fits the bill. But yeah, this is not general fiction. I just have committed to a buddy read, and I really want to read this book this month and finally say that I've read it and get on the hype of BookTube, okay? Cool. Okay, so those are the only 2 fantasy books that I am for sure committed to this month that I would like to read. The rest of the books that I'm hoping to read are general fiction. And when I say general fiction, I'm meaning like literary fiction, historical fiction, nonfiction, like just anything that's not subgenred into like fantasy, sci-fi, mystery thriller, all, you know, that kind of stuff. It's just like general literary fiction, historical fiction, okay? And if you've been following my channel for a while, way back when I started BookTube, I was way more into literary fiction. I loved literary fiction. I love reading literary fiction, and I haven't read literary fiction in so long. Actually, I did read Lessons in Chemistry earlier this year, which I did very much enjoy, and it made me like realize how much I miss reading general like literary fiction stuff. I've just gotten into like such a fantasy rabbit hole, and I haven't been able to pull myself out of that for like the last year, okay? My goal for this month and for being on Team General Fiction is reading all of the books, or at least picking from a lot of the books that I bought when I had a real passion for literary fiction and have had sitting on my TBR since then. I have so many TBR vets that have been sitting on my shelf since 2020, and it is time to read them, okay? I need to stop perpetually putting books off. I need to read these books. Like, if I've learned anything in the start of this year and last year, it's that you need to read the books that people recommend because there's a reason they're recommending them, all right? So I have a list of 9 books here that I'm likely going to choose from throughout the month. You know, we'll see where the heart pulls me as the prompts drop. Like, obviously I don't know any of the prompts yet, so who knows if these books are gonna fulfill the prompts. But like, these are the books that I am most interested in from my shelves. So let's get into it. So first book is a book that a coworker actually recommended to me. I've had 2 coworkers read these read this book like back to back, and they read it within like 2 days. So I'm really hopeful this is going to be a very, very quick read. And it is High Achiever by Tiffany Jenkins. I have never heard anyone talk about this book. Literally, my coworker was like, I read this in 24 hours, you should read this. And we're doing like a little mini book club at work. But this is actually a memoir. And it is about a woman who was a former drug addict, and she was addicted to opioids. And it's kind of about her journey of being a drug addict, and then I think coming out, you know, on the other side of that battle. So the reason I think that this book was very impactful to my coworkers is that it's a very, very fast read. It is a memoir, so it's nonfiction, but they told me that it reads like a fiction book, and that's what it says on the back as well. Like, it says it reads very fast. It's kind of like a twisting and turning kind of book where like things are happening at every turn. And while I don't want to like fictionalize a person's lived experience, it seems that that is why it was read so quickly. This book obviously covers very sensitive topics such as like drug addiction and encounters with corrections officers and jail and all of that kind of stuff. So it seems like it could be really, really heavy, but at the same time, I really do think that there is merit in reading stories that are unlike your own. And this story seems very unlike my own lived experience. So I'm very, very interested in reading it. I heard it's a really, really great memoir and like an absolute page turner. Like I said, everyone at my job recommended it, so I'm gonna read it. And I think it would be really great to read during this readathon because it is such a page turner. So this is the first one I am hoping to get to. Next book that I am very interested in reading this month is Motherhood by Sheila Heti. Now, I have been having this book sit on my TBR for a really, really long time. I think I'm honestly scared to read this book, but it's a book that I really do want to invest in and put the time into reading. I just turned 30 years old yesterday, okay? And if you have ever been in your 30s, you know that thinking about children and entering that stage of your life is very much a thing. It's very much a thing. You know, the time starts ticking, the biological clock starts dwindling down, okay? And as someone who, I don't feel like I have a clear path in that sense, okay? I'm very comfortable sharing this. I don't feel like I am very pulled one way or the other. And I have very much been interested in exploring the ideas of motherhood and trying to learn more about it. This is what that book covers, okay? Not that it's like an actual nonfiction book about like, this is how you change a diaper and like all that kind of stuff. It's more of just the mindset that I'm in where someone is contemplating the idea of motherhood. So yeah, this book is about a woman who is making that exact decision. And I just feel like I very much can relate to that right now in this moment, okay? And honestly, I feel like this is a book that hopefully will allow me to feel seen, allow me to feel, you know, hopeful, and that, you know, there's other people in this world that are also struggling with the same decision, and hopefully allow me to contemplate some of these thoughts that I'm having. So I'm really hopeful to read this throughout the month. It's a very short book. We have large margins. I just feel like it looks like a very quick read to me. Okay, we got pictures. I mean, hopefully this book will read very quickly and be a great addition to my TBR this month. Next book that I am interested and hopeful for is Slow Days, Fast Company by Aoife Babbitt's. Very short book. I think this will be great for the amazing readathon, okay? This book was actually written in like the 1960s or something. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I did include this in my like most recent Taylor Swift recommendations video. Guys, this book has been a book that I've been interested in for so long. Essentially, this book gives me the vibes of like Daisy Jones and the Six and like Evelyn Hugo, okay? But it actually happened to someone. So this woman, Aoife Babbitt, was a socialite in like the 1960s, 1970s in Hollywood. She has written many other books as well, but like a lot of her stories seem to chronicle this like glitz and glamour of like old Hollywood in that era where people are like really at these like beautiful mansions and like all these parties and like the debauchery that the socialites of this time living in Hollywood were getting up to. And I've always been really interested in reading it. I love reading historical fiction from that time, like Daisy Jones and the Six and like all that kind of historical fiction from Taylor Jenkins Reid. I think those are some of my favorite books ever. And I really actually want to like sit down and read a book that is someone's lived experience from that. So this is a very short book. Hopefully it will be a good addition to my TBR as well. And I'm very, very interested in it. Okay, so next up we're gonna be talking about the real TBR vets. All right, the ones that have been on my shelf since 2019, 2020. And I've always wanted to read them and just never have gotten to, okay? First one is The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I know it's a crime. It is an actual crime that I haven't read this yet. Am I ashamed? Yes. I can't believe I haven't read this book yet. This is one of the books that just sits on my shelf and I'm like, I'm scared to read it. And I shouldn't be because I know it's gonna be very beautiful and heartbreaking and sad. So The Song of Achilles, if you are living under a rock, is about the retold story of Achilles and his lover. I know something really sad happens in the end and I know exactly what's going to happen in the end, but I still wanna read it. I did just get back from Italy, like I said, where Greek and Roman kind of like mythology is very heavily inset into that history, right? And I feel like I really want to embark on a retelling of some of those mythologies. I am very, very interested in reading this. I am ready to get my heart shattered. It's been way too long since I have like genuinely cried at a book and I need it. I need it. It's been too long. I need to release my emotions. I need to allow myself to feel sadness while reading a book. And I just like, this is a big hopeful for this month. I really, really hope I can get to it. So please destroy my heart. Next book that could be a potential for me is Our Missing Hearts by Celeste Ng. Literally no idea what this is about. Absolutely zero. I did actually briefly read the, whatever this thing is called, the sleeve. And it sounds like it's about this young child whose mother is a Chinese American poet and some of her work is getting banned. And it's basically like a clashing of two cultures of American culture. And I think it's also set in like 1960 or something. Could be totally wrong about that. I think I'm wrong. I think I'm wrong about that. Okay, never mind, never mind. But it's basically about like a clashing of two cultures. So I previously read Little Fires Everywhere and I actually really enjoyed reading that book and I also really liked the show. But I've been interested in reading this book for quite a while, ever since it came out. I got this right when it came out and I'm just really surprised that I haven't read it yet. So hoping to get to it. I think this could be a really good, just like general fiction book to get some points for our team. I don't know. I feel like when I read Little Fires Everywhere, it read super, super quickly. So I'm hopeful that Celeste Ng provides the same with this one. Next book I am hopeful to read this month is Cleopatra and Frankenstein by Coco Mellors. I have been wanting to read this book for so long. And there is actually no excuse for me that I haven't read it yet, okay? This book is about a relationship between Cleopatra and Frank? I think they just call him Frank. Cleo and Frank, okay? And basically these two people are in their young 20s and they're just kind of discovering themselves. It really sounds like the relationship, like they encounter a lot of roadblocks and like things they have to overcome or, you know, unclear if they actually overcome them, but like they're in their young 20s, they're in their I'm discovering myself phase of life, and it sounds like they're trying to do that whilst being in this relationship. It sounds like this is very much a page turner of a book as well, and I know that everyone who's read this before has really enjoyed it. I just like, I literally have no excuse for not reading this book at this point, and I've been wanting to read this book for forever, so I'm really hoping that I end up picking it up this month. Next general fiction book I'm interested in is The Island of Missing Trees by Elif Shafak. I have had this book on my TBR literally since the day it came out. Why haven't I read it yet? It's actually a crime. Again, like, do you see a theme here? I bought so many general fiction books back in that time, and like, why didn't I read any of them? This book was nominated for the Women's Prize for Fiction back whenever it came out, like the year after it came out. And it's about a young couple again who is living in Greece, like on a small Greek island. There's like a cypress tree, I think, that's there. And like essentially the cypress tree like sees this couple go through their entire relationship. And I've heard it's very beautiful. It was, yeah, nominated for a Women's Prize for Fiction. I've only heard great things about it. I feel like it's a crime I haven't read it yet. And this is one that I have been just like, it's taunting me that when it sits on my shelf, you know what I mean? I am just really hoping that one of these literary fiction books just like hits me in the chest, sees me to my core, releases my emotions, allows me to cry at a book again. It's been too long. I need that. I haven't read a depressing literary fiction in so long. And I need it in my life. And one book that I know that will do that is Normal People. I was potentially going to read this book last month, but like I just ended up not getting to it. And the way that Normal People has continued to come up in my life since I started manifesting a reread of it last month, it's continuous, okay? Daisy Edgar Jones and Paul Mescal posted on Instagram today about something big was coming between the two of them. If you haven't watched Normal People, the TV show, get on it. You are missing out on like quintessential television. One of the best TV shows I've ever seen in my life. One of the best books I've ever read in my life. I never stopped thinking about this book. I never stopped thinking about the way Marianne Connell pierced my heart, pierced my soul, shook me to my core. Oh, I love this book. I've read this book so many times and I just like, it never gets bored. It never gets boring. I continue to come back to this book. The quotes in this book are amazing. The journey these characters go through is amazing. Please read Normal People if you haven't read it already. It's about Marianne and Connell, again about a relationship, a slow burn of a relationship where these two people are kind of like, they meet when they're in high school and they continue to come back to each other over and over and over again throughout their young adulthood. It is a beautiful story. They are just, oh, literally could cry thinking about it. And I need a reread. And I think this book would be a fantastic book to have during this readathon. It's very short and I'm just like, I need it. Okay. And then the last book that I'm potentially interested in for this month is not a general fiction book. It is another like fantasy sci-fi? I don't know. It's In the Lives of Puppets by TJ Klune. This book seems to be about these like 3 robots who are just kind of like going through it or something like that. Honestly, don't know. TJ Klune's books just always give me the warm fuzzies. They give me the nice little cozies. You know, like I think about House in the Cerulean Sea and then Under the Whispering Door. I think about those books. My heart explodes, okay? And I know that that's what this book is gonna bring too. It's about some robots. And I just know that like my heart's gonna break inside. And am I in need of some emotional damage? Like, what is going on with me? I feel like maybe, have I been living on too high of a high for too long that I need a low? I don't know. But I am really interested in reading this. I have been putting it off since it came out and I just feel like I'm in the mood for a TJ Klune. I feel like I'm in the mood for the warm and fuzzies, the cute, the crying. I am in the mood to cry, okay? If I've learned anything from this TBR stack, it is that I am in the mood to cry. That's where we're at. And that's where I'm at in life. I turned 30, wanna cry. No, but for real, I'm actually okay. I just like need a good literary fiction in my life. Do you know what I mean? Literally, there's absolutely no way possible that I'm going to be able to get to all of these this month. If I get to 3, I will call that a success, okay? I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys have not signed up for the amazing readathon yet, please check it out. Don't forget to join my team if you are interested. I would absolutely love to have you on our team. I'm so pumped about this. I haven't co-hosted a readathon in so long and I'm just like so ready to dive in. It's gonna be such a fun time. And if you made it this far in the video, leave a running emoji because we're gonna be racing. We're gonna be doing the amazing race this month. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace and love, babies. Bye.